Dylan Edwards entering that transfer portal and going off to play for Kansas State still ring bells in my ears, and it makes me wonder what really took place. It makes me dig a little bit deep as I research. As you guys know, Coach Prime had a very unique relationship with Edwards dating back all the way to the youth playing days in Texas. We're going to talk about that in a second, so let's get to it.
Every other city I go, from Colorado to the Bayou I go. Y'all know the motto, get the info I know. My people know it's Mad Dog TV, let's go. To every other city, every city I go. From Colorado to the Bayou I go. Y'all know the motto, get the info I know.
Dylan Edwards played a pivotal role as far as his flip from a long-awaiting commitment with Kansas State, but it was a no question, as we all know, the relationship him and Coach Prime had dating all the way back to the youth playing days in Texas. But the long-standing bond ultimately led to an end as Dylan Edwards had entered that transfer portal just about a weeks ago. Now, Edwards scored 4 touchdowns in a 45-42 upset victory over TCU, but his usage slipped during the year as Colorado moved away from the running game. He finished with 321 yards, 299 yards receiving. Now, we don't know if that played a role of him deciding to hit that transfer portal, because in my personal opinion, if he wanted to hit that transfer portal earlier, he would have done it earlier in the year. So that season had nothing to do with him deciding to hit that transfer portal. Now, Edwards becomes the 21st player at the time of hitting that transfer portal, which was, calls from several players, but none of them was at the magnitude of him hitting that transfer portal. As we all know, his relationship with Coach Prime was very significant. So it makes me wonder what possibly went wrong for Dylan Edwards. So for me to really have an accurate, real reason of why maybe Dylan Edwards decided to leave, I'm going to narrow this down into 3 possible causes of why Dylan Edwards left in the first place. Now, if you guys agree with any of those 3 options, drop in the comments and let me know. If you guys disagree with all 3 and have a different opinion, drop it in the comments as well. The first reason I'm going to say is, without a doubt, is maybe Dylan Edwards wanted a bigger role as far as at the running back position, which means maybe he wanted to carry the load 90-95% of the time. But in my opinion, it just doesn't make sense, because last season Dylan Edwards actually started. Last season Dylan Edwards actually carried the load pretty much majority of the time, catching the football out the backfield, running the football up in the A and B gap on the outside as well. He carried the load pretty much 90% of the time. Now, I know a lot of people are saying Dallin Hayden deciding to actually come to Colorado, former Ohio State running back, was a main reason of Dylan Edwards' departure. Now, I will tell you guys this. Shout out to the pregame show. Uncle Neely stated numerous of times in DNVR interview that he felt like Dylan Edwards did not want to compete after that timing of, Dallin Hayden deciding to come to Colorado. I kind of felt like the same, but it just does not make sense for me to feel Dylan Edwards would sit back and say, oh, they bringing in another running back, so now it's time for me to leave. Just doesn't make sense in my personal opinion, which is why I feel like the first option is not really ideal. Number 2, big and most importantly, in my opinion, especially in today's era, NIL opportunity. Now, you guys know Leon Edwards, Dylan Edwards' father, actually played for Kansas State back in the 1990s, and Dylan will be scouting to find a bigger role that will shoot his NFL draft stock. Now, Leon Edwards definitely played a huge part of, Dylan Edwards continuing that family, tradition as far as him going to Kansas State. And then who knows, NIL opportunities is very big for guys, especially nowadays. And we know Dylan Edwards definitely wanted to commit to Kansas State before going to play for someone like primetime Deion Sanders. So it's a very big possibility that Kansas State pretty much offered Dylan Edwards the bag. And I feel like that really makes most of the sense as far as why Dylan Edwards wanted to leave. You know what I'm saying? Because I just can't picture Dylan Edwards wanting to leave because afraid of competition. Just my personal opinion. Last but not least, maybe Dylan Edwards just doesn't like what's going on in the locker room as far as Colorado. Maybe it's too much distractions. Maybe he feel like Colorado won't be as good as people think. He's able to see these things every single day. But that really doesn't make sense to me, because as a competitor, as a former football player as myself, you embrace opportunities, you embrace challenges, you embrace adversity, and you are a big part of this offense. So there's no reason for me to see or feel that Dylan Edwards will not want to compete and help this team change this team around, considering he's a big part of that. So it makes me wonder. NIL opportunity, Dylan Edwards, that's the main reason why he left. And I give you guys a bonus situation. Maybe there's some problems with the coaching staff as far as within the locker room at Colorado. Maybe his position of coach, Coach Flea, and him had issues. But again, all of this is basically guessing. We really don't know what was the main reason. It just makes me wonder, as I sit back and wonder, why did Dylan Edwards actually leave in the first place, especially when he played a major role in this offense. They was even talking about utilizing him in certain packages, special teams, and all of those things. And if you are a football player and you want to get to the next level, being in an offense where you actually used as much as it is, as he was going to be used at Colorado, is a no-brainer. You know what I'm saying? That's how you get to the next level, being on the football field. And what can Kansas State do for Dylan Edwards as far as more than what Colorado could do? It's just not going to be that big of a difference. They still can utilize him, but there's no difference as far as how they're going to use Dylan Edwards, because at Colorado, he was going to be used just as much, if that makes sense. So I personally feel like NIL opportunity was the big major reason of Dylan Edwards' departure. So just drop in the comments and let me know if you guys agree or disagree. Also, we will have players interviews and all of those things, man. I just want to kind of give you guys a rundown of what I feel like may have been the cause of Dylan Edwards leaving. Drop a comment, let me know what you guys feel. And if you guys like the video, definitely subscribe to the channel. Peace.